This is the first time I'm making a video about keeping chickens. From getting my first young chickens, watching them grow and develop, to getting their very first eggs and eventually successfully hatching and even raising baby chickens. I ordered a chicken coop with a run. I couldn't make it myself this time. It would take too much time and energy to get all the materials and build everything from scratch, and I need that energy for other things. I'll still need some time to prepare the place for it. But it's going to be really interesting to keep a few chickens here. I'm excited to see how everything will develop in the future with them too. And it looks amazing. Just the perfect size for our little family. My wife will be in charge of painting the coop since it was her idea in the first place. And I hate painting, but it's nice when everyone adds their own touch. Now I'm preparing the ground for it. This spot feels perfect for the chickens, but I'm a little worried about my crazy Tom. So I'll place some mesh under the coop and secure it all around, at least until he gets used to the chickens. My friend says he wouldn't attack them, but I'm not taking any risks. I know my Tom. Better safe than sorry. Once everything is secure and they get used to each other, things should settle down nicely. This is way too heavy for me to move alone. It's very early in the morning and I don't have anyone to help me right now, so I'll have to take it slow, be careful, and maybe move it step by step. So the solution was right beside me. One side was the problem, so I decided to slide that side first. And just like that, it became much easier to move the coop. Sometimes you don't need more strength, just a better idea. Once you figure it out, everything suddenly feels simple again. But the real solution was help, and my wife came to the rescue. With 2 people, everything suddenly became much easier. My neighbor called me. He told me I should go get the chickens. I didn't plan it yet. The coop isn't even finished. I found the chicken farm. Yes, these are ducks. And finally, I got my chickens. A long day, a bit unexpected, but totally worth it in the end. These are Leghorn chickens, a breed known especially for egg laying. I got 4 hens and 1 rooster, so it should be fun. Normally, a rooster needs a bigger group, around 8 hens, so I'll keep an eye on him. So this year should be really interesting with all the birds around. There's going to be a lot more work and I might soon need some real help with all these animals. But I can't wait for the first egg. That's going to be a special moment. While I was working on the coop to prepare it and make it more secure for the night, I didn't plan to have the chickens right away. My Tom went into hunting mode. It was really strange to watch. He probably had never seen such large birds before. He looked both scared and confused, as if he was deciding whether to attack them or defend himself from these big newcomers. It's funny and a little nerve-wracking at the same time, but I'm keeping a close eye on him. He'll need time to get used to them. Just like all birds, they need time to adjust. It's their first time seeing grass, the sky, and hearing all these different noises. Everything is new to them, especially since they are very young. As it was getting darker, the chickens instinctively started looking for higher perches to feel safe and secure for the night. Even though this was their first time ever being in a proper coop, they were previously kept about 50 birds on the floor of a barn. They immediately understood the instinct to find a safe spot. Watching the sunrise, I woke up early with two things on my mind. Am I late to take Mila to kindergarten? And what are my chickens doing? So I went to check on them first. There's something special about seeing the animals in the early morning light. It's calm, peaceful, and a little magical. I was expecting them to run out, explore, eat, and drink. But nothing. They were just staying inside, chilling, like they knew this was better and safer. No need to go out. They don't know what's out there yet. It's interesting to see them slowly getting used to their new home, learning that safety and comfort come first. Tom seems like he can already sense the chickens. I'll need to teach him to stay away from them from now on. I'm hoping that in a week or so, once all the conditions are right, the chickens will be able to roam around my garden a bit and explore. They need to go out to eat and drink, but I'll keep the door closed just for a day or two. This way, they can learn faster where the food and water are, and they already know where their sleeping perch is. But it feels like a big milestone in life. You need the right mindset to take care of them, and I'm happy I've reached that point. They are truly unique birds. There's something very therapeutic about watching them. Almost mesmerizing. And yeah, the neighborhood cats are crazy hunters. They're already obsessed with my chickens and my neighbor's chickens, so that means no free roaming around the garden. At least for now. It's just not safe. Chickens surprised me. They're not just useful, they've got personality. They're calm, curious, and there's something real about them. Especially these days with everything going on in the world, having your own food source, even just eggs, hits differently. So yeah, it started as a compromise, but it might turn out to be one of the best decisions I didn't plan to make. Anyway, let's get back to the chickens. First things first, they're similar to other birds in many ways. Fresh water, good food, protection from parasites, and regular cleaning. My ground, though, isn't very friendly for chickens. They get everything dirty so quickly. A concrete floor would be ideal, maybe with a layer of sand on top for easier maintenance. I'll figure that out soon. This whole chicken situation was a rush buy. I got them with my neighbor because they sell out fast in spring. Chickens that have access to greens, insects, and natural foraging tend to lay stronger eggs with richer yolks. Even something as simple as adding dandelion leaves can give them nutrition and entertainment. But most people don't realize how important their environment is. Chickens don't just need space, they need enrichment. Dust baths, for example, aren't just cute to watch, they're essential. Rolling in dry soil or sand helps clean feathers, remove parasites, and keep their skin healthy. Without it, chickens can get stressed or even develop health problems. That's something I need to implement too, to make sure mine stay happy and healthy. Concrete is incredibly durable and easy to clean. You can sweep it, hose it down, or even disinfect it without worrying about damaging the floor. It's also excellent for keeping rodents and burrowing pests away. However, concrete alone can be hard on chicken feet and doesn't absorb moisture. That's why most people add a thick layer of bedding, like wood shavings or straw. This absorbs droppings and makes the coop more comfortable for the chickens. Sand is another great option. It's natural, soft, and drains well. Chickens love to scratch and dust bathe in sand, which helps them stay healthy and stress-free. You can easily spot clean the top layer and replace it when needed, keeping the coop hygienic and comfortable at the same time. Step by step, I'll upgrade everything to make it better. I'm still new to keeping chickens, so suggestions are always welcome. For now, the top priority is space and flooring. A proper, safe and comfortable area for them to move around is essential. Once that's in place, I can focus on enrichment, bedding and other improvements to keep them happy and healthy. I've just arrived back from my 2-day trip. The birds were left alone in the garden, with the aviary doors open overnight, even for the chickens. But all the birds instinctively knew to go inside and stay safe. The biggest problem in my aviary is still the cats. They are the #1 predators here, and in the past they have hurt my birds. But for now I've learned a lot and improved the protection of the aviaries. So far there have been no accidents and everything is under control. When they panic, they don't defend themselves, they just run and jump away. Even the rooster is still scared, but he's only been here for 3 days, so he needs time to get used to the environment and grow into his role. As soon as they got access outside, they went straight to explore. Now that I see how they behave, I'm already thinking of making this space even bigger. I have enough fencing, so why not give them more room while still keeping it controlled? One thing is clear, I don't want them roaming around the neighborhood. They can actually fly pretty well and jump over fences, so it's much better to keep them in a safe, enclosed area. Also, I'm right on the edge where keeping chickens is allowed. Just one street below is a city zone where chickens are not permitted, so I need to stay careful and keep everything under control. More space but still safe and managed. That's the goal. While I was preparing the chicken coop for future upgrades, I found some worms. Of course, I had to collect them and give them to the chickens, just to see their reaction. And as expected, this was something completely new for them. At first, they were a bit confused, watching, stepping closer, stepping back, and then instinct kicked in. One brave chicken tried it, and after that, the rest followed. My first plan was to place concrete blocks on the floor, but they are heavy and there are too many of them. Then it just hit me. Why don't I use a hard PVC pond liner instead? I can place it on the ground and cover it with sand. It should give the same or even better results without lifting all those heavy blocks up into my garden. I really love simple and effective ideas like this. Parasites. That is my biggest concern. So I plan to mix in some diatomaceous earth. It is a fine powder made from the fossilized remains of tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms. Under a microscope, it looks sharp and abrasive. It can help with lice and mites by damaging their outer layer, which causes them to dry out. It can also help reduce moisture and odors in bedding. I will use it lightly in nest boxes, mix it into bedding or dust bath areas, and sometimes apply a small amount in coop corners and cracks, but it is more like a support tool, not a full treatment. It works best as prevention for mild maintenance and as part of a wider hygiene routine. As I'm a complete beginner with chickens, every tip is welcome. I'm learning something new about these birds every day. Health is my biggest concern, and I always want to stay one step ahead. And I think this was a successful mission complete. The chicken run is empty. Or is it? They just noticed me and are running at me like I'm their leader. I still don't have any eggs from the chickens, and I'm waiting like it's the best thing ever to happen. So, as I'm excited for the upcoming eggs, I got them coconut fiber padding for the chicken nest just to improve the quality of nesting. Are they always hungry or just curious about what's going on? Funny chickens. Now this looks nice. Like all birds, chickens also need vitamins, especially when they are laying eggs. And what's funny is that these vitamins are the same ones used for parrots. But budgies are not really fans of these pellet vitamins. And all this work finally has results. My very first egg. I'm so excited. What I found is that the first eggs from very young chickens can be a bit odd, strange shapes or too small. That's all normal. What's important is that they have a healthy, nutritious diet. The next morning at the same place, the chicken laid what seems to be her first egg, but without a shell. I was shocked, but it turns out this can also be normal. It's like a small bug in the egg production process. It can happen that young chickens lay their very first egg without a proper shell. So that's a relief. It's normal for chickens. And one of the most common questions I get is, are they smelly? I can say absolutely not. My coop has a fresh smell of clean wood thanks to the wood shavings on the floor. Even the droppings are not really smelly. My friend once said the main reason is probably the healthy food I give them. Some people feed commercial poultry feed or concentrates, and that can make chicken droppings smell much stronger. So in my case, with natural feeding and good ventilation, it stays surprisingly clean and pleasant. And one interesting fact is that one of the best fertilizers for garden vegetables and plants is actually chicken manure. You can use it right away if it is soaked in water, but that is not always the best option because it can become quite smelly. The other option is to let the chicken manure sit and compost for a while, even until next year. That way it becomes aged and much safer to use because fresh manure can burn plants if applied directly. Every day I now get around 3 to 4 eggs on average. But this is actually my very first proper cleaning of the chicken coop, just a reminder that I'm keeping chickens for the first time in my life. The first thing I've learned is that I need to improve the setup, starting with a deep clean of the nesting boxes and then the rest of the coop. It's all a learning process. The chickens are now reaching 100% efficiency in egg laying. Every day there are 4 eggs waiting for us. They honestly have more than they need: a large space to roam, clean water, 3 types of food, and vitamin and mineral pellets that they absolutely love. And of course, our daily vegetable and fruit scraps are always highly welcomed by the chickens, especially tomatoes. They absolutely adore them. And they probably find all kinds of insects around the garden every day too. Like all my pets, the chickens are no different. They need full care, health protection, and good nutrition support because laying eggs is not a simple job for them. Now I'm ready to use the rest of the day to build a simple chicken feeder using PVC pipes. It's nothing fancy, but it's very effective. The idea is to reduce the need to refill it every day, which makes things easier for me and ensures the chickens always have enough food. I actually found this idea online, and even my neighbor has already applied it in his chicken coop. It works perfectly. No more daily carrying and refilling food all the time. Just a simple upgrade that saves a lot of time. With pets, you don't really save time, you just enjoy spending it with them. Making these things for them, improving their homes, and taking care of them gives us pleasure, especially when we know they are happy and comfortable. I've been keeping all of the button quail eggs in the fridge for my chickens. because I'm not planning to hatch any more button quails. Last time I ended up with more than 40 button quail chicks, which was quite an experience on its own. Instead, these eggs make a great nutritional boost for the chickens. I simply boil them and mix everything together, including the shells. Eggs are packed with high-quality protein, which helps hens maintain strong muscles and supports healthy egg production. Since the eggs are boiled, they're safe to feed and easy for the chickens to digest. I also crush the boiled shells and feed them back to the flock as a natural source of calcium. This helps laying hens replace some of the minerals they use when producing eggs, making sure nothing goes to waste. But at least I don't have many worries about the chickens. The eggs are always on time and they keep doing their job every single day. The only problem is that from time to time they decide to explore the neighborhood and fly into the neighbor's garden. Then I have to go on a little chicken chase. And this is just less than 10 minutes later. The chickens are completely soaked, but they don't seem to mind at all. They still have the whole day ahead to dry off, and honestly they seem to enjoy the rain. I guess, like many birds, they actually appreciate a good shower from time to time. Something really special happened. I got my very own chickens from eggs collected in my own garden. This is a huge achievement for me. It means I can finally start expanding my chicken flock and continue building this little ecosystem in the garden. Of course, I can't have unlimited chickens because the coop space is still limited. I need to make sure they have enough room and a comfortable environment. But honestly, I feel extremely lucky and grateful to see this happening. The best part is that I was already prepared. I have the brooder heater water system and food ready for the chicken babies, so everything is set up for the next step. It's amazing to think that this all started from a few eggs in my own garden, and now it's becoming a new chapter of keeping animals here. My very first chickens are ready to be moved into the brooder. I didn't want to leave them in the incubator for too long because the smooth surface can increase the risk of problems like splay legs. Now that they are dry, fluffy, and active, it's time for them to move into a more suitable environment where they can grow properly. The chicks are growing incredibly fast, but I just noticed that one of the youngest chicks has developed a splay leg. I need to act quickly, because if the leg develops incorrectly while they are still growing, it can become a permanent problem. The cause is most likely the slippery surface in the incubator. During the first days of life, chicks need a surface where they can get proper grip and support their legs. This is why the brooder setup is so important. A good textured surface helps prevent leg problems and allows chicks to develop normally. As I'm using paper towels on the bottom, this setup was already great when I was raising button quails, and it works well for these chicks too. The difference is that chicken chicks are growing much faster and are already much bigger, so the mess they create is on another level. I need to change the bedding much more often to keep everything clean and dry. Even with the extra cleaning, I still think paper towels are one of the best options during the first days. They provide good grip for their feet, which is especially important after dealing with the splay leg issue, and they make it much easier to monitor their health and droppings. Of course, with active chicks running around, making a little mess is unavoidable. Luckily, the solution is quite simple when noticed early. The two legs need to be gently supported together so the chick can learn the correct position while it grows. After trying several different solutions, I found that insulating tape works the best. It stays in place properly and the chick cannot easily remove it. At this age, chicks are growing incredibly fast and their joints and muscles are still developing. So, with the correct support, they can usually learn the proper leg position again. Brace yourself, because this is a real predator warning. This morning I got some horrifying news from my neighbor. Apparently we have a new predator in the neighborhood. And it might have already visited my own garden. Overnight, some kind of animal dug underneath his fence and got into his chicken coop. It attacked his chickens, leaving feathers everywhere. 2 chickens were lost. 1 hen was killed and the rooster was attacked. The animal somehow managed to drag the rooster underneath the fence, and it ended up in my garden, right next to the big aviary. And this immediately raised a big question. What kind of animal could do this? At first cats came to mind, but honestly, this doesn't really match their behavior. Cats usually don't create this kind of situation, and they normally wouldn't have the strength or motivation to cause this much damage inside a chicken coop. After investigating, searching, and trying to understand what could have happened, we discovered a much more worrying possibility. So I started checking around my own chicken coop looking for any signs that something had tried to get inside, and unfortunately, I did find some signs of digging near the fence. The interesting thing is that this definitely wasn't there a few days ago. I would have noticed it during my regular checks. Cats can be completely ruled out in this case. The coop is securely closed overnight, and during the daytime the cats and chickens have already gotten used to each other. After checking the situation, doing some research and asking AI for help analyzing the signs, we finally got a possible answer. A marten. Yes, that cute little animal I saw during my visit to Tokyo. An animal that some people even keep as a pet. Could be the new nightmare living around our gardens. But in nature, martens are completely different. They are incredibly skilled hunters, very strong for their size, and can squeeze through surprisingly small spaces. For anyone keeping chickens or birds, they can become a serious problem. So now I have a new challenge. I already had to think about cats, but this is something completely different. The aviary is secure, but this is a reminder that when you keep many animals, new challenges can appear when you least expect them. The next morning, my first priority was the tiny chick with the splay leg. More than 24 hours had passed, and I was really hoping the leg was already starting to improve. It's not an easy task when the chick is only a few days old. Splay legs should be treated as soon as you notice them. The earlier you act, the better the chances of a full recovery. But before anything else, this was a lesson for me. I can't leave chicks in the slippery incubator for too long while they dry off. They need to be moved into the brooder much sooner, where they have a surface with proper grip to support healthy leg development. Every mistake teaches you something. Great news, everyone! More chicks have hatched. This means a new phase of chicken keeping begins, and with that comes the need for more space. From my previous experience raising poultry, especially button quails, I already know one thing. Baby birds are messy. They make a lot of dust, spill water, and create a lot of cleaning work. until they become big enough to be released into the garden and eventually join the button quails and zebra finches in the big aviary. But they need time. Young chickens are still very vulnerable. And cats or other predators could easily see them as an opportunity if they are too small. They need to grow stronger and bigger before exploring the garden. The timing is also interesting because summer gives me the perfect window. I probably only have until the middle of autumn before the temperatures become too cold for keeping them here comfortably. And unfortunately, this little chicken managed to break the splay leg support. I was hoping it would stay in place a little longer, because this early stage is very important for correcting the leg position. But now I have to find another solution. I changed the bedding to give the chick a much better grip and hopefully a stronger surface to practice walking. I learned something new about chickens. Apparently, they are little hoarders. They collect all kinds of random things, but I especially noticed a lot of snail shells. I guess they can be a useful source of calcium, although chickens will happily collect almost anything they find interesting. And now it's time to clean all of this up. Chickens have surprisingly good vision. They can see colors differently from us, and they're especially good at noticing movement. They also have a social hierarchy. The famous pecking order is very real. Chickens establish who gets priority within the flock. I also learned that roosters have a special sound for food. When they find something good to eat, they make this excited little call to let the hens know.
Daddy! Lolly!
Basically saying, "Hey, I found something over here." Sometimes they even pretend to find food just to impress the hens. And apparently, something is happening inside my coop. I started noticing some very suspicious behavior, so it's time to investigate this chicken. One of the hens has started sitting on the eggs, basically waiting for more eggs to appear under her. I think she is getting broody and wants to hatch them. Unfortunately, I don't have a proper place for a hen and her chicks right now, so I can't let her complete the whole process this year. But next year, I definitely want to make a special place for a mother hen and her chickens, so if one of them gets broody again, she can actually follow her natural instincts and raise her own little family. My chicken chicks are basically little messy, two-legged, feathery things. They are definitely not the easiest animals to keep inside the house. It's not that the chicks themselves smell, they don't. It's their food mixed with spilled water that creates this absolutely horrible smell. And somehow they can spill an entire water cup in about 5 minutes. I honestly don't have the ideal setup for raising chickens. They are farm animals after all. But this little temporary setup is doing the job until they're big enough to move outside into the chicken coop. And not all of them will stay with me. Some, probably around half, will be going to my good neighbor. Can't wait for that day. And they are not demanding at all. I just put out large bowls for food and water, and this setup catches most of the droppings underneath, making cleaning much easier. I still check on them regularly, of course, but the setup itself is surprisingly simple. Once everything is prepared properly, baby chickens are pretty easy to look after. Just food, fresh water, warmth, and enough space to move around. For now, this little setup is doing exactly what I need.